Hey everybody, another episode of Howling with the Wolf. A little later today, my apologies. Had a little running around to do, but let's get to it. Let's talk some Titans. This week against the Bengals, 3-game winning streak they've got right now. And it's sort of a weird area. And I was talking to a few folks about this earlier, in that the Titans are playing in an area where you're like, are they playing well? Are they playing iffy? Where you think they are? But they're 5-3. They are tied for the AFC South lead, and they have a 3-game winning streak. So we're trying to figure out exactly who this Titans team is, who they will be long term, and whether this is a team that we think can make some noise in the playoffs. So as always, you guys can go ahead and fire away any questions. I'll go ahead and kick it off with just an injury update. I had a question on Facebook before I hopped on, just basically asking about the status of Quinn Spain and Delaney and Cyprien and Corey Davis, and then talking a little bit about the Titans offense in the game. So I'll briefly touch on those and then hop into whatever questions you got. So fire away. As always, if I miss your question, just ask it again, and definitely replay it for anything that you missed. So Quinn Spain, he's probably not going to play this week. He's got a turf toe injury. He missed last week. Brian Swanky played. He played okay. I watched the film. There were some areas where he got pushed back, and you could tell where some of the run blocking issues may not have been there if Quinn Spain was there. But I do think that he's going to start again this week, and I think they should be okay. As far as Corey Davis, he played, no setbacks. I think he played 75% of the snaps on Sunday, which is a really good number, and I think that'll only go up, as well as his targets and catches. So I think it's only up from here for Corey Davis. I think he's kind of easing his way in, but if 75% of snaps is easing his way in, then I think you'll see a lot more of Corey Davis down the stretch. Who else? Delaney Walker. He played really well on that bone bruise. I know I wrote earlier this week, we talked about whether Jonnu Smith would get a bigger role, but I kept on thinking that Delaney Walker would play. He's a tough guy. You know, he fights through a lot of these injuries, and this was a pain tolerance deal for him, and he fought through it. You know, he fought through the pain, and he played pretty well. So he's going to be limited in practice this week just to help him get through that. But I think that he went last week. He should go this week, and he's one of the tougher players on the team. So I think that's something that, you know, the Titans have as in their benefit. Cyprien, same thing. He played. I think he played about 70 to 80. I think he played 80% of the snaps on defense. So he hopped back into his starting role. Denoris Searcy became the third safety again, like they initially planned to do. And Kevin Byard and Jonathan Cyprien started. So those are the injured guys. And let's go ahead and hop into you guys' questions. As always, like I mentioned, just fire away, and I'll try to cover what I can before I have to go. Corey Childress, you said, do you think we got too conservative in the third quarter versus Baltimore? I had one question. I think Brian John Martin asked me that on Facebook before I came in. And I don't think they got too conservative. Like, I watched the film this morning, and the third quarter, they had 3 offensive series. And to break those down, the first offensive series was the one where Marcus tripped over. It looked like he tripped over Ben Jones' foot, or maybe he just tripped over the grass or whatever. He tripped over it, and he got a sack for about 12 yards. That pretty much blew up that entire series. They threw another pass for about 15 yards and had that complete, and then they ended up going 3 and out. I don't think that's anything conservative. That play that Marcus tripped on looked like it was going to be a deep play down the field. They were already up by 10 points, so it looked like a drive where they were going pass. And it just didn't work out because of the sack. The second drive, I believe, if I remember right, it was where they started to run the ball out. They ran their first 2 downs, and then they threw a pass to Eric Decker. It was 3rd and 4. They had success on that first down run. I think they got 5 yards. And then on 3rd down and 4, they threw a pass to Eric Decker, a deep pass to Eric Decker, where Marcus just overthrew him a little bit. I'd have no problem with that play calling. I think that was, you just don't you don't get a completion there. In the final drive, let's see. I think they had. I don't remember the order, but I think on first and second down they had one run and one pass, and I think they got a completion for about 10 yards on second down, I believe, to Delaney Walker. And they were on 3rd and 1, and they handed the ball off to Derrick Henry in a big a big goal line formation, and he couldn't get 1 yard. That was the run. The run blocking up front wasn't really great, and Derrick couldn't get that 1 yard. So, I mean, yeah, they went 3 and out basically in all 3 of those drives, but I don't think that was a conservative play calling drive. I just think that they weren't effective on third downs. 3rd and 1, you should be able to run the ball and get it. 3rd and 4, if Marcus doesn't overthrow Decker, then we have a completion there. So in the first drive, like I mentioned, it was a sack that really blew it up on first down. So I don't think it was too conservative in that third quarter. They only had 3 drives. I just think it was happenstance of they played really strong, moving up and down the field in that first half. So we thought it was going to continue, and it kind of hit a standstill. So I think, converting third downs is my bigger issue than being conservative in that period. So they ended up getting it again in the fourth quarter, and they had that big drive to score the touchdown when they needed it. So I think this was probably actually it wasn't a bad offensive day. They converted all their red zone trips into touchdowns. They need to do better on third down, and they've got to be better running the football. But I do think this was an improvement over what we saw against Cleveland the week before. So I could definitely see some of the improvements I really liked, some of the formations and plays I saw. So I think things are trending up. But maybe they aren't moving as fast as we would like. So I think there is definitely room for improvement. There's definitely positives and negatives. But no, I do not think they were too conservative. Justin Turner is saying, I think run blocking might be slightly off for Swanky. I mean, yeah, anytime you lose a starting offensive lineman, you're going to have some sort of drop off. Swanky's probably at a replacement level player. He's a guy who can fill in and spot start 1 or 2 games. He's probably not a guy you want to be starting 16 games. So Quinn Spain's had a really good year so far. He improved from last season. So I think that, yes, there are some areas where Swanky's not getting as much push. First of all, he's not as big of a guy as Quinn Spain, so he doesn't have as much power and strength to move the piles. And, that hurt the run game a little bit. But, Quinn Spain played against Cleveland, and they had, I think, 80 yards rushing. So I think the run game problems go beyond just Brian Swanky being into the lineup. Let's see. Let's go through these a little bit quicker. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit of time. Cameron Warden, do you feel like Trubisky's offense is holding back MM8's growth? I do not. I know a lot of fans have talked about this. I don't think Trubisky's offense is holding him back. I think there are some areas in Trubisky's offense that are more oriented, and it's really Mularkey's offense as well. I mean, Trubisky calls the plays, but it's Mularkey's offense. They are centered around the run. So maybe it doesn't highlight Marcus Mariota the way that Russell Wilson's highlighted in Seattle, but I think that's both positive. It can be a positive and a negative. I wouldn't want Marcus to be throwing 50 passes a game and having to run the ball 12 times a game and having to do everything for this offense. So I think Trubisky / Mularkey's offense takes pressure off Marcus to have to do everything and have to press. But it also gives him the ability to shine when he needs to. I do think there are some times when Marcus can get more on his plate, and I think we'll see that, particularly as a runner and doing some of the plays that he enjoys a little bit more or that he's better at, as far as up-tempo plays, as far as no huddle, as far as play action. I'll probably write a piece for tomorrow morning about play action Mariota. So I think that's something that we can see more of going forward, but I don't think it is something where Marcus has some great skill set that's not unleashed. I think Marcus is growing in his game, as well as the Titans are trying to figure out what's best for their offense going forward. Let's see. Corey Budd said LaShawn Sims seems to be playing all right. I see good and bad. Do you think he'll continue to progress and be a solid cornerback too? Or do you think that Tennessee drafts a cornerback in the first or second round next year? I think they have their cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 already in Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson. I was just watching film earlier today, and I was really impressed on Logan Ryan. I know we've been giving a lot of spotlight to Kevin Byard, and he deserves it. But Logan Ryan has been playing really good football on the back end. He's been playing like a number 1 corner, and Adoree Jackson has improved from earlier in this year when he had his ups and downs. And now he looks like a legitimate long-term option as a starting corner. So I think that's your cornerback 1 and your cornerback 2 there. And I think LaShawn Sims, like you mentioned, ups and downs, but I think he can be a cornerback 3 or a cornerback 4. There may be a little bit more depth needed at that position. So maybe you draft next year and add another guy to compete with LaShawn Sims for that 3rd cornerback spot. But I think, I don't know that they have to spend a first round or second round pick on a cornerback, knowing that Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson are going to be here for a bit. Eddie Taylor, another Adoree question. I haven't touched on that. Adoree, do I expect him more on offense? I wrote about that today. Check it out on ESPN.com, and basically wrote about Adoree told me about that run and how his main focus was to avoid Terrell Suggs. It wasn't to score a touchdown; it was to avoid Terrell Suggs. So I'll give you a little hint. But go check it out for me. I need the clicks, so that I can continue to write this stuff. But basically, the gist of it is that the Titans want to continue to use Adoree, continue to find ways to use him in different areas, and they believe that it's going to help keep defenses off guard, whether he gets the ball or not. Having a couple plays for him to potentially be on offense will give defenses something to chew on during the week. So I think we'll see a good bit of that. Does he always get the ball? I'm not sure. A lot of it's going to depend on ball security, how effective he is. But I do think we'll see more of him as a running back, as a receiver, wherever they want to play him. He's a playmaker. So I think they're going to get him involved where he can make plays. Does Marcus... I talked about that a little bit, Corey, with the trust of Marcus. I think that Marcus has to earn that trust consistently. I do think that there's a balance between giving him everything and forcing him to win the game for you, and letting him be him. I do think they can let him be him. Some of that has to be on Marcus to keep himself healthy, to be consistent as a passer, and to know when are the smart decisions to make certain throws and to run certain opportunities. So I think as he continues to show that he can stay healthy and do all those things, we'll see more of an open playbook and more of a Marcus-centered play calling, so to speak, if that makes sense. Let me know. Brendan Smart, first downs have been just as bad as third downs. What did you see Sunday in terms of first down success? I thought there were areas where they were really successful at first down. I thought this was one of their better first down performances, particularly in the passing game. Their first play of the game, I loved it. I watched it. I probably spent 10 minutes watching their first play of the game. They were in a full house formation. Sorry if I'm being a little bit too football-y, but I call it a full house formation, where you have, other people may call it sort of a diamond. It looks like a diamond, but they had basically Philip Supernall and Jonnu Smith in the backfield as up wings, and behind Marcus was under center, and then behind them DeMarco Murray was under was an I formation. So basically Marcus did a play action to DeMarco, and you can literally see the Baltimore Ravens linebackers taking 2 or 3 steps towards DeMarco and trying to make that tackle. And I think that's a big point, that although we see the run game struggling, there's still an area where it's drawing defenses and it's earning their respect, that's opening up the play action. So I thought that was a really strong design play. He hit Rashard Matthews for a 29-yard reception, and I thought there were a good series of those plays throughout. They've got to get the run game going. First down is traditionally a run, an area where you can really run on first down and shorten the chains. And they haven't been able to do that consistently. So I'd like to see more of that. If you can run the ball and get 5 yards on first down, it really makes second and third down easier. So I think their first down struggles typically coincide with, are they having a good running game? And if you pass on first down, you can. But if you get into a area where you're always passing on first down, then you become in a lot of those second and 10s and third and 10s, and you become one-dimensional, and that's not what the Titans want to be. Brian Martin, with Davis back, is Taywan going to be buried in the depth chart, or can he still away snaps from Decker? That's what it looked like this week. I mean, and I was a little disappointed. I'm a fan of I think I'm probably second or third row of the get the Taywan Taylor the ball boat. You know, I'm a heavy churner on that boat. Get him the rock. But he went to wide receiver 4 this week. I think he ended up playing maybe about 20% of the snaps. Corey Davis and Rashard Matthews were the clear leaders in snaps, and then Eric Decker played a moderate amount of snaps as the wide receiver 3. So I think we'll continue to see, Eric Decker in a lot of those situational third down red zone situations, and Taywan Taylor coming in as needed. So it may diminish Taywan's role, but what he has to do is take advantage of his opportunities when he gets the rock. It's sort of the situation he's in. Maybe as we get along the weeks, they may realize there are certain games where Taywan could be a bigger asset. But I think for now we're going to see him stay as the wide receiver 4, unfortunately, in my opinion, because I think he's a big playmaker, but some of it's on him. I know I talk a lot of positive about Taywan, but to give you guys the full spectrum, he has to be more consistent with his route running. He has to be more consistent on his depths with routes and exactly where he needs to be. And those are some of the things that we don't often see in tape. We just see his speed and we say that he needs to get the ball all the time. And that's true, but he has to do the little things correctly to earn that time. So I think that, we can see some shifting here or there, but they're not going to phase Eric Decker out of the offense just yet. So that means that there's not enough room for 4 receivers to get significant snaps in this offense. Let's see. What time is it? 2:33. I can do about 5 or 10 minutes left, and then I've got to run. Got to get ready for writing a couple stories and doing some interviews. Let me know what you guys want to hear about this week. I have a few story ideas that I'm planning to do, but if you guys have anything fun, then let me know, and I'll try to see if we can work it out. I'm here for you guys. You guys read a lot of the content that I write. A lot of the national content goes to everybody, but the daily content you guys soak up. So whatever's interesting to you guys, let me know. And I'd love to try to, open my mind a little bit and see if I could write about things differently. So always, let me know. Let's see. I'll run through some of these really quickly. Do you think some of the run blocking woes stem from teams loading the box and forcing Tennessee to throw and beat them? Absolutely. I think that is exactly the main problem of it. And you've got to be able to force them out of that. And, if you consistently make plays down the field, if you consistently beat defenses with play action, then they will creep out of that box. So that's what Tennessee has to do. The passing game has to open up the running game as far as effectiveness. Brian, who's the best bet to match up against Green, or do we just keep Byard over the top? I think we'll probably see a lot of Logan Ryan against A.J. Green. I do think that he'll see a lot of help. He's probably the best receiver they've played so far, him and DeAndre Hopkins. I think that they will shade a lot of help on his side. Probably play him similar to how they played T.Y. Hilton in the first half of that game, and try to neutralize them. You're not going to be able to stop A.J. Green. You can only hope to neutralize them. 5-3, not playing our best football. Are we setting up to hit his stride at the right time? That's what they hope, They always say don't peak too early. So I think it is a positive that they're playing what I call maybe C plus football. Maybe B minus if you're being a little bit friendly with your grades. C plus, B minus football through 8 games, and they're 5-3. So maybe if they'd increase that to B football, B plus football, then you're looking at a 10-11 win team that's AFC South champs. And I think that's exactly what we thought this team would be going down the stretch. So I don't think they're too far away, a little bit more improvement offensively, but I think they're on a good track. Mehdi, thanks, man. Thanks, Corey, as well. Do you think Corey Davis will play more snaps next game? He plays 75%. I think that's a lot. Maybe he plays a little bit more, but I think, that's typically what receivers play in this offense. Anywhere from, starting receivers play anywhere from 75 to 100%, depending on the snaps. They play a lot of 3 tight end sets, so that sometimes limits the amount of reps receivers have, but I'd say he stays around 75% or above. Do we need to limit Murray's snaps so he's healthy down the stretch? I wrote about DeMarco Murray on Tuesday AM. You guys can check that on ESPN. Another article, shout out. Got to give it some love. I think that I don't know if there's a true answer, a true recipe to help DeMarco Murray get out of his funk, because I think that him being on the field, and he actually said this on Sunday, him being on the field gives the Titans the best chance to win. I know a lot of people want to see Derrick Henry full force, but his skill set is not necessarily conducive for the way the Titans are run blocking right now. So I think the combination of DeMarco and Derrick give them the best chance. You hope that DeMarco can be healthier. I think he's past the hamstring, which is good. The knee injury, he was out at practice today, moving around. I don't know how much they're going to say he's did, but I think there's a hope that he can turn it around. But I'm not sure limiting his snaps will necessarily get him healthier. And it may burden your team to do so. So I think you try to find ways to get past those injuries. I don't know if he plays this season, Nick free. He said going into Sunday's game that it was the best he's felt all season. So, maybe that means he starts to turn it around, but nicked up that knee a little bit, nicked up that shoulder. Maybe those are injuries that don't linger the same way the hamstring does. So that's your hope. I don't think you get in a scenario where you sit him, and they've already been kind of limiting his snaps as is. So I think that's what we've got. Cesar, did you see any passing plays where Matthews, Davis, Taylor, and Walker were on the field at the same time? I don't recall those plays. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. I can go back and try to see if I can peek at film and see that. That would have to be a 3-wide set with at least one tight end. They don't do that formation a ton. I do like that idea of diverse weapons there. Taylor's speed along with Walker and Matthews' consistency, and then Davis's overall game. That's something that would really keep defenses in a bind. So I would love to see some version of that formation, but I don't recall seeing that play with that formation on Sunday. Will Avery Williamson get a contract extension? I'm not sure. I think it could go either way. I think the thing that may hurt Avery Williamson if he wants to stay in Tennessee is the fact that Jayon Brown has proven that he probably can be a starter down the line. So if the Titans feel like Avery Williamson it would cost too much, then maybe they slide Jayon Brown into that spot. But then the other part of that is that the Titans need more than 2 linebackers. So I think they've actually got a really good setup the way it is, splitting time with Jayon Brown and Avery Williamson, and Wesley Woodyard's playing out of his mind, but he is on the other side of 30. So it's going to all depend on what Avery Williamson wants. Tennessee does have the cap room to sign him. I wouldn't be surprised to see an extension done sometime this season if the numbers are right. But you never know with these things what they're thinking, what John Robinson's thinking in the front office. Can they, inside linebackers, a position that a lot of teams feel like they can get by with a cheaper option. So if Avery Williamson, wants big money, that could be an area where they don't want to give in to that. So I think we'll see. I think him and then Taylor Lewan's the other big contract. He's up after the season, and I do think Taylor Lewan gets re-signed. 7 snaps, I think you're referring to Taewon. Yeah, I think that's too little. That's kind of what we saw early in the season, first game or so, and it started to increase gradually. But part of the issue was the Titans didn't have that many offensive snaps this week, so I definitely like to see Taewon somewhere, above 30 to 35% of those snaps. But I don't call the plays. I don't put the players on the field. I just report on the team. So it is what it is. Last one, and then I will go ahead and go. Luis Velasquez. How about something on what the Titans do for the military this week? So much negativity towards the players, and I feel like a lot of fans don't realize everything that the team does for the military. Good piece for Veterans Day weekend. Great way to end. Look for something. I'm not going to tell you what, but look for something a little later this week on Veterans Day. I had that as one of my ideas, and I'm going to do that. And I'll give you guys another sneak preview. Delaney Walker is going to be on Sunday NFL Countdown on Sunday talking about Veterans Day and some of the things that are important to him regarding veterans. So I think you must have read our mind at ESPN and what we're thinking. So that is coming. So yeah, check out ESPN.com this weekend, Friday, maybe Saturday, and there should be a piece up regarding the Titans and veterans. And Sunday, Delaney Walker, Sunday NFL Countdown. Look for those things. So as always, thanks guys. We'll do this again next week. Check out my stuff on ESPN. Check out my Twitter page at Cameron Wolfe or on my Facebook page, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. It was fun. Talk soon.